In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 6 mistakes to avoid when you're investing in cryptocurrency. These are super common mistakes that beginners make all the time that can completely blow your cryptocurrency portfolio. You can lose all your money. So I've done a lot of these things. So the first mistake that beginners often make is buying high and selling low, which is really the exact opposite of what you should do, right? In order to make any money, you need to buy low and sell high. But don't feel bad. I've lost a lot of money investing in cryptocurrency this way. But I want to show you the most common way that people do this so that you can avoid it. So this is really common for people to look at a chart like this and watch the price of cryptocurrency go up like crazy and think, oh, now's the time to buy. Like people are jumping on this opportunity. I need to catch this train before it leaves the station, right? It's like FOMO. But then the very next day, the price does this, all right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that the cryptocurrency has tanked and that you've necessarily lost money unless you sell it. But it's really common for beginners to watch these big pullbacks in crypto and then get scared and sell it, and then they lose money. But then the next day, it recovers and then that trend continues. So this is probably the most common ways that people buy high and sell low, but it's the exact opposite of what you should do. So basically, you have to train yourself to think opposite, right? So whenever you see a big run up like this, typically, that's not the time to buy. Typically, you want to wait for things to cool off before you jump in. The old adage is, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And there's a lot of truth to that. Now, you can't systematically do that because, of course, you would buy every single cryptocurrency that ever went to zero. But I want to show you a way that basically helps limit your risks to where you don't have to try to call tops and bottoms. So you can use dollar cost averaging to try to reduce some of your risk. So basically, that just means buying a little bit of cryptocurrency over time and then averaging your buy-in price. It's a really fancy word, but it's really simple in concept. So basically, let's say you want to invest $1,000 in cryptocurrency. Then a dead simple way to do this would be divide it by 4 and then buy into the market 4 different times. So you basically take $250 and, buy the same cryptocurrency at 4 different points in time. Maybe it's once every day, maybe it's once every week, once every month, et cetera, et cetera. And that really helps reduce your risk in these incredibly volatile markets. So here's an example. Let's say you bought, 150, let's say you bought like $250 here at $150, once here at the top at 284, 110, and then 213. So you basically take all these numbers, add them up, and then divide it by 4 to get an average buy-in price. So if you did that over time, you basically would get an average buy-in price of $180, which would be a lot better than accidentally buying in with everything at $280 right here. And that's one of the easiest ways to avoid the mistake of buying high and selling low. So the second common mistake that beginners make is buying a cryptocurrency because it's cheap, all right? And the logic usually goes something like this. Hey, I'm going to buy, Litecoin, for example, because it's way cheaper than Bitcoin, right? And if it ever goes up to Bitcoin's price, then I'm just going to be a bazillionaire. Well, there's a huge problem with that, okay? Because you're looking at the unit price of the cryptocurrency and not thinking about the market cap. So when you're talking about buying a cryptocurrency because it's cheap, you're talking about the unit price, right? So let's say it's like $50 compared to Bitcoin being like $20,000. Well, the real problem with that is it fails to factor in how many, coins are actually in the supply or how many coins there are total. See, one of the reasons that, Litecoin is cheaper than Bitcoin is because there are more coins in existence. And so when you're looking at the unit price, you also have to look at the market cap, which is basically the price of each coin times the supply. And you have to compare cryptocurrencies that way because that'll help you determine whether it's even plausible that a coin like Litecoin would surpass Bitcoin in value because in order for that price to go from, let's say, just $50 as an example, up to $20,000 as an example, then the market cap would have to go up about 400x, which means that the entire market cap would be worth trillions of dollars, which is an incredibly unlikely scenario. So that's why you have to think about other factors besides just the unit price and avoid buying a cryptocurrency just because it's cheap. The third really common mistake is looking for 100x gems, okay? And actually making this the core of your investment strategy. Now, I'm not saying you can't do this, do some speculation on really small cap cryptocurrencies that could go up like crazy, but it's really dangerous to put all your eggs in this basket and to make this the core of your strategy for lots of reasons. So number one is beginners are probably going to lose money with this strategy, all right? Sure, altcoins can go up like crazy really fast, but hey, what goes up must come down. And like I was talking about before, beginners are really prone to selling cryptocurrency when it goes down really fast because they get scared and they don't want to lose money. So if you put money into an altcoin that goes up, 2, 3, 4, 5x really fast and then drops significantly, you might freak out and sell your entire portfolio, and you might sell it at a loss. The other thing is a lot of these altcoins are really new, which means they don't have much price history, and which means that they can also basically go to zero. Lots of people got totally wrecked in the last big cryptocurrency bull run like this, right? They were buying coins like this because they thought it was cheap, 75 cents, 50 cents, and then these things just like totally went to zero. So you got to be super careful when you're talking about this stuff. So the other problem with this strategy is it takes a lot of time and effort. Okay, because you have to spend all your time researching these coins and then watching them like crazy because the price can go up and down in a matter of hours. Okay, so you got to really be on your game in order to get those profits. And that's basically like a job, but it's like a job that you can lose money at, which is a really risky use of your time. Okay, the other big problem here is that in many countries, when you pay taxes on short-term capital gains, it gets taxed at a much higher rate, like normal income is if you just went out and got a job and earned this money as a self-employed person. So what's the alternative to this? Well, it's buying and holding for a long period of time. You'll pay lower taxes this way. It'll take less of your time and energy. And it's also way more likely for you to make money with this stuff over the long term. This is what I personally do. I'm not really a short-term trader. And so for a lot of beginners, honestly, just picking the number 2 cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, really large market cap cryptocurrencies, and holding them for the long term is probably the best way to go. So mistake number 4 is trying to use leverage. All right. So this is a bad strategy for pretty much all beginners. Okay. This is something that's really only better for advanced traders, if that. So leverage is basically using borrowed money to invest in cryptocurrency that you have to pay back. And 2 really common ways to do this are basically to increase your exposure and for shorting. If you think the price of a cryptocurrency is going to go up, you could borrow money, and instead of buying 10 units of the cryptocurrency, you could buy 100 units. Like you could basically increase your exposure by 10x. That's what 10x leverage is, okay? And if the price goes up, then you make 10 times as money, right? Sounds really attractive. But there's a big problem with it, okay? Because if the price goes down enough during that time, then you can be liquidated. And basically, you can lose the money that you have as collateral for that leverage. All right. That's how most cryptocurrency exchanges work. So the other way that people try to use leverage, it's really common, is for shorting. So basically, they think that the price is going to go down. And so they borrow the cryptocurrency, sell it, and then wait for the price to drop, buy it back, return the original amount, and then make a profit that way. So this is an advanced strategy, and most beginners are going to get wrecked this way too, because they're just going to be wrong when they think about which direction the cryptocurrency is going to go, and they're going to get liquidated. So in either of these scenarios, using leverage is probably one of the fastest ways to completely wipe out your trading account and leave you with nothing. And so I highly recommend avoid using leverage, especially if you're a beginner. So mistake number 5 is no diversification. All right. This basically means that you've put all your eggs in one basket and you're betting that that's going to work. And most of the time, you're never going to be 100% right. You need to diversify and assume that you're going to be wrong in some way and have some sort of hedge. Okay. So let me explain what I mean by that. There's a few different ways you can do this. Number 1 is within your cryptocurrency investment portfolio itself. So basically, instead of just buying one cryptocurrency and being 100% sure that you're right, then you might want to buy a few different ones, right, that are lower risk as a hedge because they might outperform your top pick. So a really simple diversified portfolio would look like 50-50 Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are the 2 biggest market cap cryptocurrencies. They both have a pretty long price history and are both very fundamentally sound investments. So that's not much diversification, but it's better than nothing. And this is a pretty good portfolio for a lot of beginners. So another example might look like this, where you are really confident on one cryptocurrency. Like you have strong conviction on Ethereum, for example. So let's say like 75% of your portfolio is in ETH. Then maybe you break up the rest of it. Maybe like 20% in Bitcoin and the other 5% is in like DeFi coins, for example, or maybe some other speculative altcoins that you think are going to perform well that you want to speculate on. This would be another example of a diversified portfolio. All right. So even outside of crypto, you want to diversify in some way because there's no guarantee that cryptocurrency prices are going to go up. Something bad could happen. The market could totally go the opposite direction. And so it's really risky to put all your available funds into cryptocurrency. Okay, there are lots of people who do it and some of them get incredibly rich, but a lot of people are going to get completely wrecked by doing this. The easiest way to do this is basically just to have extra cash and don't use it to buy cryptocurrency. People talk about this being like dry powder. Okay, so this can be good for lots of reasons. Number 1, it's just it mitigates your risk risk if the prices go down. Well, you could buy more, or you could just not buy at all and then use that cash for other stuff, right? So other ways to diversify are having other actual investments besides cryptocurrency. So I personally do this. I'm invested in real estate. So that's an option. Other options are, the stock market. A really easy way to do that is just buy into index funds. So I don't personally do stocks. Again, I'm all in real estate, but these are both like much safer investments with a very long proven history than cryptocurrency, because these markets are totally new. And so that's what it looks like to diversify into other assets outside of just the cryptocurrency space in general. So mistake number 6 is buying more than you can afford to lose. So I can almost guarantee you that if you're a beginner, you're probably going to lose money at some point in cryptocurrency, right? Maybe not net over the long term, but you'll probably lose money at some point. I mean, I did this. I've watched lots of other people do it as well. And a lot of people buy more than they can afford to lose. And so when they actually do lose money, whether it's just paper losses or actual losses, then it actually impacts their life in a really negative way. All right, so those are my 6 top investing mistakes that people make all the time when they're investing in cryptocurrency. These are things you should avoid completely. I've done a lot of these things, so don't feel bad, right? I've watched lots of other people do them too. But I want you to learn from these things so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I've done.